Howdy. Today we're going to read Fandango Stew by David Davis, illustrated by Ben Galbraith. For all those in the world who share with others, and from an editor, Meredith Mundy, David Davis. For Simone, the prettiest gal this side of Skinflint, Ben Galbraith. Fandango Stew. Slim rubbed his grumbling belly as he rode into the town of Skinflint. "I'm so hungry I could eat a boiled leather boot," he said to his grandson, Luis. "Neither of us has a peso, abuelo," said Luis. "Looks like Fandango Stew for supper again." Slim grinned and sang, "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." When they stopped to water their mustangs, the town sheriff collared them. "You two cowpokes can just keep right on a-riding," said the sheriff. "The hard-working citizens of Skinflint don't feed saddle tramps. It ain't far to the city limits, and it's downhill all the way." "We're not aiming to lasso a handout," said Slim. "My grandson and I rode into Skinflint to treat Skinflint to a pot of Fandango bean stew." The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "I never heard tell of a Fandango bean." Slim pulled a small bean from his vest pocket and held it up in the air. He sang, "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." "What are you sidewinders trying to pull?" growled the sheriff. The mayor moseyed over with the owner of the general store. Both men laughed. They said, You skunks can't make stew for the whole town with one bean." "Lend us that big iron kettle yonder, and you'll see," said Slim. "These hombres are loco," said the shopkeeper, "but I want to see this." The sheriff twirled his mustache. "Well, I guess it won't hurt anything to watch two fools boil water." He and the blacksmith rolled the huge iron pot into the town square. Slim built a fire under it while Luis filled it up with water. When the pot boiled, Luis kissed the tiny Fandango bean and dropped it in. Slim and Luis sang in two-part harmony. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." The bank president poked his head out the bank window and yelled, "What's that ruckus going on out there?" The mayor pointed into the pot. "Why, it's the nearest next to nothing you ever saw." Slim ignored them and stirred the pot with a long wooden spoon. "This stew is muy bueno," he said, "but if we added a little salt and pepper to season the Fandango bean, it will be truly magnifico." The banker chuckled. "Oh, shucks, I can lend you a little salt and pepper." He shut the window, ran outside with two fancy gold salt and pepper shakers, and sprinkled the seasonings into the pot. Then Slim, Luis, and the banker sang in three-part harmony. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." Slim tasted the stew and sighed. "What's ailing you?" asked the blacksmith. "Oh, nothing," said Slim. "I was just a-thinking how a purple onion would bring out the flavor of the Fandango bean." "I guess the wife and I could rustle up an onion," the blacksmith said. His wife fetched one, and the blacksmith diced it to toss into the boiling water. Then Slim, Luis, the banker, the blacksmith, and his wife sang in a five-part harmony. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." Luis sniffed the air and said, "This stew smells good, muchachos. Not as tasty as the batch over in Dogleg Gulch, but good." "It can't be helped, amigo," Slim said. "We had potatoes in Dogleg Gulch. This is Skinflint." A lawyer in a frock coat elbowed his way up to the kettle. "We've got parcels of potatoes," he yelled. He disappeared and returned with a huge barrel of spuds. "Skinflint has more potatoes than Dogleg Gulched. Case closed." While they peeled potatoes, Slim, Louise, the banker, the blacksmith, his wife, and the lawyer were merry. They sang in six-part harmony. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." Skinflint's pretty school teacher tugged at Slim's arm. She opened a large cookbook. "Pardon me, sir, but it says here that you need more than potatoes for a healthful stew. Children need vegetables." "You're right as rain, ma'am. If this was the stew we cooked in New Summerfield, we'd have plenty," Slim said. "There grow lots of vegetables there, but Skinflint is just a one-horse town." "One-horse town!" yelled the sheriff. "Dag nabbit, I'll show you vegetables." He whistled up his deputies. "Boys, make tracks to my garden. Pick anything that even looks like a vegetable. Pronto. Even pick the okra." In a few minutes they returned with baskets loaded with peppers, peas, cabbage, asparagus, squash, carrots, and okra. Slim winked at Louise and said, "Sheriff, perhaps you brought too many vegetables. They might smother the delicate flavor of the Fandango bean." "Listen, Pilgrim, you'll add those vegetables and like it, or you'll spend the night in the jailhouse," the sheriff growled. "If you insist," said Slim. The teacher and the school children washed the vegetables at the town pump. Louise added all of them to the stew, even the okra. Just then, Skinflint Culture Club ladies strutted over, twirling their parasols. Not to be outdone, they stirred in 5 pounds of brown rice and a bushel of prize-winning heirloom tomatoes. They had their menfolk set up tables and hang paper lanterns all around the square. Then Slim, Louise, the banker, the blacksmith, his wife, the lawyer, the mayor, the deputies, the ladies' culture club, their menfolk, the school teacher, and the children sang in 47-part harmony. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." The stew simmered and the aroma drifted over the whole town. When the Fandango bean stew was done, the storekeeper and his wife served it with big glasses of sweet tea. Everybody had all the stew they wanted. Nobody ate more than the sheriff. He even took bowls of stew to the desperados in the jailhouse. After supper, the mayor burped and said, "Fellers, I'm full as a tick." He clapped Slim and Louise on the back. "Now tell me if this isn't the best dang stew shindig you buckaroos ever saw." "It is truly a fine fiesta," said Louise. "I never seen better," said Slim. When night fell, the moon rose over Skinflint like a big yeller balloon. Everyone strolled home, all tuckered out from the excitement, and nobody went to bed hungry. The next morning, the whole town turned out to say goodbye to Slim and Louise. The mayor dabbed his teary eyes with a handkerchief. He said, "We sure wish you galoots would stay a spell." "Well, we'd best be hitting the trail," Slim said as they mounted up. "Before you go," the shopkeeper said, "tell me where I can get some of those Fandango beans." Louise pointed to the barrel on the porch. "You got plenty right there, amigo." "Why, those are just common pinto beans," the shopkeeper's wife replied. "Any bean makes a fine Fandango stew," Slim said. "Just add generosity and kindness." "Well, hog-tie me with a noodle," laughed the sheriff. Slim and Louise tipped their hats, and the whole town could hear their fine duet as they rode into the sunrise. "Chili's good, so is barbecue, but nothing's finer than Fandango Stew." The end.